This is the new Cyelee EDG, and I gotta say, it kind of feels like what the RMR should have been by now. So this thing, right out of the box, mounts just like a regular RMR. If you're running, like, let's say a 507C or SRO, pretty much any RMR footprint mount and slide will work with this optic. The two index posts are machined correctly, and it fits most of the high-end slides and mounts I currently have. But how do you know if something fits or not? So far, there are just way too many optics on the market. And if you're not familiar with other footprints besides just the RMR or the Delta Point, it can get very confusing. So this directory tool can help you find what you're looking for. Let's say you want a large window optic, but also you want something that meets your use cases. This tool will find most of them from real-time database without you having to search a bunch of websites with scattered information. And it also recommends compatible plates, so try it out. So Cyelee has came out with a bunch of products last year, and it's hard to keep track of them and all the variants coming out. What I like the most is that the EDG is full weatherproof with the rear window. And I don't know, when will Trigicon ever come up with something like this? I mean, they could have done it with the RMR HD, but they didn't. And the RCR is a bit bulky, and the field of view is kind of small. Not to mention those optics are now cost like $800 a piece. We can also expect some of these Chinese-made red dot optics to be more expensive later this year with this ongoing tariff situation. So expect your HoloSun primary arms and other brands all cost more. If you want to get anything, I would get them now. I mean, you wouldn't want to pay for $500 for something that generally cost around $300 before sales tax. Just picture a regular SIG Romeo 5 that costs only $150 to be around $350 before tax. It's just insane. The optic body, based on the specs, says it's 7070 T6 aluminum, and it's rated for 6-foot drops, optic down, on a gun weighs about 30 ounces. We still have to test that and see how that really goes. One that stands out is, of course, the enclosed emitter body, but the other thing is the machining on this thing. The beveled edges feels pretty good when you try to rack the slide. There is not any of that, like, you don't feel any sharp corner palm when you go rack the, but if you go over the top, then these slightly outward hood kind of cuts into you. But if you're wearing gloves, then I really don't think it's a big deal at all. The backside of it is slightly squared off with these rounded corners, while the top has an angular faceted contour. Kind of feels that Venom design they had, the Cobra X as I remember. And on the side, there are these two rubberized triangular buttons. This recessed area is pretty well machined to sit flush with the optic body along with the slide. As far as the deck height goes, it sits low, and I did notice that the lens overhangs a little, but not as far as how the SRO looks. The rear notch has this small cut out to use as a backup iron sight. I personally don't really care for those, especially when I already have those rear sights. They may be helpful on slides with no rear sights, and they can provide a point of reference as an offset optic on a rifle. So this is new to the market, and it runs for about $280. So far, this optic feels really solid, and it comes with all these mounting screws. And it's a bit overwhelming because they give you so many screws all bundled up in the box, and you have to sort through them, and most of them are coated with some blue Loctite to help with the retention. While most gun slides work with the 632 size screws, so just double check before you start to torque and strip the threads on your expensive mount or slides. So all around, this feels pretty solid, and we still have to put some rounds through it, and I'm a big fan of their Wolf X Pro red dot, and I'm confident that this is going to be a good one. The side-loading battery tray is something most people like, and the dot options for this one is currently only 3 MOA. I wish they have a 6 MOA option with a circle dot for people with astigmatism. If you have astigmatism, a circle reticle is generally slightly easier to make out the edges of it than a tiny center dot, and it's not going to appear as refracted as much as a single dot. And if you want to see other optics, watch this one right here.